Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to another vocal live hangout. I nearly did it. I nearly did it. Oh, the vocal analysis. I do so many of them now. It's habit. Welcome to another live hangout, everyone. I hope you are all well. The sixth last live hangout for 2025. I know. We are. Don't look now, but it is nearly November. Crazy. We say it every year, don't we? Where did the year go? Well, it's nearly gone. I hope you've had a good week this past 7 days. A special hello to Toku Lover 89. I believe you're a new name to me, so welcome to the live chat. Of course, a hello to Rebecca and Dean and Linda. You guys have been here for a long time, but I think Toku is new. So just in regards to how many shows we've got left, 6 including today. Next week, and I'm just going to give you... So today is a Q&A, everyone. We're doing a Q&A. I said last week, a reminder, the Q&As can only work if you bring the questions. So it'll be a short hangout if there are no questions. I've already put one question up into the live poll. The live poll today, a bit of fun. What's your biggest singing side quest? We've got 9 votes up there already. And a pretty even spread of responses, which we'll talk to a little bit later, which will be, as I said, these, a poll like that, that's just a bit of fun. So we'll get to that later. Next week, we've got Naomi, she's a colleague of mine from Sydney. She's actually just been, and maybe she'll be able to tell us a bit about this next week. She's been singing throughout Europe. She's a classical singer. I think she's just about to finish a European tour, singing in some of the... She's in my Facebook feed, singing in some of the most gorgeous venues, cathedrals and just beautiful classic spaces. Anyway, hopefully she can tell us a bit more about that when she gets back and we talk with her next week. We're not going to be talking mostly about that. We're going to be talking about... She's right into really novel application of learning tools in her teaching studio. And I know she gave a talk about that at the ANATS conference a couple of months ago. And so I thought it would be really interesting, in part because I didn't get to go to the conference. It'd be really interesting to have her come onto the show and talk about that. And I think we'll all learn something. It is such a positive thing to remain, open to learning new things about this thing we call singing. And that includes me. And so I'm hoping that we can all learn together next week with Naomi. The week after that, we're going to do a mini topic from memory. Don't hold me to this. From memory, I'm going to be talking about developing vocal stamina, which is interesting because, this was not by design, mind you, one of the side quests we've got listed in the poll is building tireless vocal stamina. So, in particular, if you've ticked that particular box, then our mini topic in a couple of weeks will be of interest to you. The week after that, this is the 10th of November. For those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, almost certainly the 9th of November, we'll be having Professor Brian Gill join us, as he does and has done for the last 4 or 5 years as our last guest for the year. And so we'll talk to... We're going to be talking, and I've already organised the topic with Brian. We're going to be talking about the current challenge, and I see this a lot in my teaching studio as well, and that is this current trend of overdriving the voice. There is a lot of pressurization of vocal habit. We'll talk more to that when Brian comes on. Brian is a leading pedagogue here in Australia. Not here in Australia, in the world. He's in the US. And so it's going to be great to have Brian on. He's a good mate, and we'll have a great chat. The week after that, we'll do our final Q&A. This is on the 17th of the 11th. We'll do our final Q&A for 2025. And then we will round out with our, what is sort of unofficially our third ADDA session. Ask Dr. Dan anything about anything. And of course, I haven't confirmed this with Linda yet, but I'm anticipating that Linda will join me, our wonderful moderator is in the live chat, moderating every day we get together. Anyway, it's not ABBA, it's ADA on the 24th. So that's what we're looking at for not just today, but the next 5 sessions after that. And then we will take our usual 2-month break, and we'll be back in February 2026. I'm tired just having talked through it. I'm actually a bit tired today because I had a shocking night's sleep last night. You know, that happens. It happens, right? And I usually sleep pretty good, but last night, not so much. So if you regularly sleep poorly, I really feel for you. As a person who regularly sleeps well, those every now and then poor sleeps are horrible. One final thing before we get into some Q&A, and we do have some stuff going on well, it's one from Rebecca. I'll get to you in a second. Rebecca, hi. I've just seen Karen from Singwise has jumped in there too. Hi, Karen. What was I going to say? Oh, yes, I'm pretty excited because this Sunday, ANATS, the Australian National Association for Teachers of Singing, is hosting an all-day event here in Brisbane with Professor Kitty Verdolini. Now, for those of you who don't know who that is, Professor Kitty is one of the world's leading voice scientists, and I've heard her speak in Sydney. Now, this would be going back to 2006. What are we're talking 19 years ago? I think it was 2006. It might have been earlier. And she was outstanding, 19 years ago. And I know she's done so much more research and contributed so much more to the voice world since then. So I'm really excited to be able to sit under her tutelage on Sunday. Thank you to ANATS Queensland for hosting her. I suspect it's going to be a really well-attended day. I've got Zach, who's been on the show with us before. Zach is going to be there. I'm hoping to spend a bit of time with Zach. And also one of my students, who is a singing teacher herself, is going to be there. So, yeah, we're all going to front up. It's going to be a great day. And I'll make sure, hopefully I'll get an opportunity in the next coming weeks to let you all know about some of the information and learnings we've been able to glean from that. So it's going to be good. It really is going to be good. Now, I think that's enough for us to talk to when it comes to our what do we call it? What do I usually call it? Like, it's the administration of the channel. There's a vernacular term, like a colloquialism. Anywho, let's get on with it. Rebecca has written something here. Rebecca, what are you writing here? You've said, this is in my notes, what can you tell my cousin? I just found out he exhausted his face muscles by playing his trumpet too hard. Wow, that's, I don't know. He's in college and practiced too hard. Do you know the one thing I guess that I actually don't have any specific information. I would be stepping outside of my lane to respond directly to that. Rebecca, let's use that, however, as a reminder to ourselves that we are, as singers, biological instruments. And there is a conditioning that we need to undergo with regards to the fitness of our voice and the upregulation of muscle. And we'll talk more, I think, more to this when we talk about the mini topic in a couple of weeks. And your cousin's situation maybe gives us a reminder as singers that we have to be attentive to what our body is capable of doing. This is why I always say to new singers who are commencing a technical development journey, and obviously not just here in the studio. I started a new student this morning. Not just students here in the studio doing private lessons, but also those who are doing the Voice Essentials online courses. And if you aren't, I encourage you to check it out. You'll be able to see it moving along. In fact, it's coming on right now. Enroll today at the bottom of the page. You'll be able to think about stepping into that slowly. It's very hard when a singer first starts because they front up with a lot of enthusiasm, and it's important that we don't crush that enthusiasm, but equally that we temper that and bridle it so that we can focus it and develop the fitness of the voice and condition the voice into the task. And so our stamina increases and improves. And so with brand new singers, technically I'm referring to, we start off with practicing. I start my students practicing every second day for 20 minutes. And essentially every week or two, we increase that by 5 minutes, and we keep increasing until we're able to do around about, I think if you can be practicing around about an hour every second day, and then we add a day so that you get to a point where you can practice, and this is once you get into sort of Voice Essentials 2 and beyond, you can be practicing 5 days, maybe if you absolutely needed to, 6 days a week for about an hour. And that doesn't mean you have to do the 1 hour in one hit. You could do 30 minutes, take 20 minutes off, do another 30 minutes. But the point being is you see that escalation of load over time. And that is really important. Stack frame. You are a name that is new to us here at Voice Essentials, I believe. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the community. Tenor, singing straight tone. Yes, I'm just making sure I got the right question. And trying to keep it full tone, non-falsetto. Confused between the opera-style breathing, which encourages significant breath, versus what feels right is less breath. Now, great question. So, here's the thing that you have to understand, stack frame, and that is classical setup is very different to contemporary setup. I am a contemporary only singing teacher. There are singing teachers out there that teach a variety of disciplines, contemporary, music theatre, classical. I do not. I teach, I teach everything from sort of, classic contemporary, which is sort of your adult contemporary sort of space, right through to, the harder rock stuff. Not so much into metal and scream, but certainly into hard rock. Contemporary only is what I'm getting at. The contemporary setup for breath, which is significantly reduced pressure, with a really consistent flow is very different to what we set up the classical voice for, which has a higher pressure that sits up underneath the larynge. As I said, Brian Gill is going to be coming on. Professor Brian is going to be coming on to the show in, what is it? So 3 weeks from today. And so Stack Frame, I encourage you to you will have had to have subscribed to leave a message, so leave a question. Now that you're subscribed, hit the white bell icon. You'll get notification of that show when we go live. It's at the same time every week, Australian Eastern Standard Time, 1 p.m. Check your local guides for your times. And I think, when Brian and I talk about it, you'll get a little bit more detail. I do have whole other videos on the channel about the subject of subglottal pressure and reducing that, but equally getting that really balanced phonatory threshold flow, PTF. Check that out. But can I encourage you, Stack Frame, that you do want to be very careful if you are doing contemporary vocals. If you are loading the voice up with pressure, it is likely to lead to some significant fatigue, which could lead to some wear and tear, which could lead to damage over time. So I'd be encouraging you to go after, if you're a contemporary vocalist, go looking for that really balanced flow, that reduced pressure. And it's interesting you say here, the opera style breathing encourages significant breath versus what feels right, which is less breath. I went to say, I really encourage you to pursue what feels right, because that's often a really good measure for you vocally. Not always. I'll qualify what I mean by that. Sometimes what our body has learnt as its normal may indeed not be optimal. It might feel right, but it may not be the best thing for your voice. In this particular instance, it just so happens that I would be encouraging you to pursue what feels right, which is that reduced air pressure. Not always the case. So, yeah, I'm just measuring my own comments there as much as anything. I've just seen here that you're thinking about that note B flat, B5 plus in particular. I sing Barbershop for reference. Yeah, so really, it depends on what styling and tonal feature your group is going for. If your group is going for a really narrow resonance in the barbershop, then the contemporary setup, I think, will be of value. If the tonal features of your barbershop group are going to be looking for a fuller, more classical natured tone, then perhaps the classical setup will be right. But I'd also then want you to be seeking out classical instructions so that you are getting the right setup of breath in accordance with the pressure that may be needed. And I've just seen Toku's just saying, Linda is saying, Toku Lover has been with us before, but not since late 2024. Okay. Well, it's good to have you back, Toku Lover. It is good to have you back. I do apologise that I'd forgotten that you'd been here. We've had a lot of water go under the bridge since the beginning of this year, Toku Lover. It is good to have you back. And I am do you know what? And Linda is, this is why Linda is such an important person in our world here at Voice Essentials. She has reminded me, I need to remind us all that we have the secret, what do we call it? The Secret Santa Christmas Song Exchange happening on the Facebook wall, the Facebook group. Can you tell I'm tired? I feel like I'm just all over the shop today. So every year, and I think this is the fourth year we've run this. Kathy, who is the wonderful Kathy, and as Kathy Schneider, she's in the Facebook community. If you are not a part of the Voice Essentials community Facebook group, why not? It's free to join. You can participate, become a part of the community. And every year for the last, well, as I said, I think this will be the fourth year we've done it. Kathy runs this event called the Secret Santa Christmas Song Exchange event, where you nominate yourself, go looking for the post in the Facebook group, and you say, yes, I want to be a part of it. And it's basically, I think most of us in the Western world know about Secret Santa, the concept of Secret Santa, where you get given a person's name and that's the person that you buy a present for. Well, in this instance, what we do is we give Kathy our name to say, yes, we put our hand up and say, I want to be involved. And then Kathy, quite judiciously, gathers all those names, and everyone then gets given one other name, and then you have to choose a song for that person to learn and post onto the channel. It's a lot of fun. And so I want to encourage you to participate. I will be, once again, participating in the event. And last year I got given a really fun song. You could be chosen to choose my song, and equally I might be chosen to choose yours. We're all in this together, and so make sure you jump over to the Facebook group and sign up for that. It will be a lot of fun. Okay, so let's come up to, so Rebecca's asking, so Rebecca is asking, I think I just answered this question, Rebecca. Will you be releasing Christmas song this year, Dr. Dan? Yeah, I will. As a part of the singing exchange, I definitely will, and I'm looking forward to it. And it's, I found, in fact, the last one I did, I'm trying to remember the name of it now. Can't remember it. The last one I did, it was just so outside my wheelhouse. It would never have been a song that I personally would have chosen to sing, but I gave it a red hot go, and you know, and I think we're all in that same boat, right? And I will put my hand up to everyone to say, if you get my name, please be kind. I think, don't see it as a challenge to see, you know, just how uncomfortable can we make Dr. Dan. Give me something I'm going to enjoy singing. That would be awesome. Okay. Let's go down to here. So we've got a question here from Dr. John, who is writing, let's see, why is that down there? I noticed your video on voice rehab after losing it through sickness doesn't work. Are there any exercises you can do for voice rehab? Firstly, I'm sorry to hear that your video that I did on the subject hasn't proven to be as beneficial as we would both hope it would be. I think that highlights how, in one sense, and I'm always cognizant of this when I do my pre-record videos and whenever I talk here on YouTube, it is very generic by nature. It is one of the challenges I think we all face when we come to a place like YouTube or the internet, Dr. Google, and we put in our list of symptoms and we hope that we're going to find some instruction that will be directly applicable to our noted concern, in this case, voice rehabilitation. But your experience, Dr. John, may actually also remind us that sometimes you are going to require personalized input and instruction, direction, care from someone, one-on-one. By that, I'm not suggesting that would be me, though I do work one-on-one with people around vocal rehabilitation. But it could be that you need to see an ear, nose and throat doctor, a laryngologist, a speech-language pathologist. I don't know your specific concerns, and it would require that person that you are going to get that personalised care from to sit with you, to listen to your voice and where it is at the current moment, and then to design a bespoke response to that. And so as far as other activities, I'm going to stop short of telling you what some other activities are, because it sounds like the generic ones that I would have offered in said video may not have met your needs currently. And when I'm thinking about the generic nature of those sorts of activities, I would dare say I've probably talked about straw phonation. I may have talked about SOVTs, semi-occluded vocal tract activities, developing better breath, better posture, all of those. They're very generic, yeah? And so my encouragement to you is, Dr. John, take the next step and seek out personalised advice. Can I give that out as a piece of recommendation to everyone? Yeah, YouTube is great for us as a community. We get to hang out. I get to answer some of your questions. But there is a limit to what this environment can currently provide us with. I'm so pleased that we have this platform, and I think it is beneficial to a point. And so, Dr. John, I hope that's helpful. Oh, okay. What have we got? So Dr. John has gone ahead and clarified. What do we say here? Dr. John said, "Oh no, it just wasn't playing on my phone. Just a technical error." Okay. Well, I've completely misunderstood what you were saying. I understand. I don't know why it wouldn't be playing on your phone, Dr. John. I don't think that actually changes anything I just said, to be honest. It probably gave us a good reason to remind us all of the generic nature of YouTube. I don't know why it wouldn't be playing on your phone. That's a YouTube question, I would have thought. I can't help you in that instance, Dr. John. I can't. Sorry. You could... A lot of my pre-recorded videos I also host on my private singing teaching website, djarts.com.au, djarts.com.au, and so you could see if you could play it through that, maybe. Yeah, hopefully we fix the technical error. I am, however, reassured to know that the information I did give you on the video, or that it did work, or I don't know. Now I'm getting all confused. Okay. Linda has a question. I love it when we get to answer Linda's questions simply because she's so deserving of said questions. A question from me. Dr. Dan, can you comment on different postures to practice singing? For example, holding a cushion. And I heard some classical singers training lying down on their back. I think the one thing to always remember, Linda and everyone, is just before I answer quick, can you hear the cockatoos outside my door? They are screeching like mad. So I don't know if that's coming across on the mic, but if you can hear quietly in the background, it's yellow-crested cockatoos. The thing to remember is when it comes to posture and pretty much any application, there are very few things that we should rule out offhand. Just like definitely don't do X, Y, Z. There's a chunk of things that we say, do this, but do this in a limited fashion. So, for example, in Voice Essentials 2, I have some, and Voice Essentials 3 for that matter, I have some onset and offset activities, which I always give to students with the instruction, do these when you're doing a practice session, do them once through each. Do not do them more than that. It's in part because the repetitive activity of that over a number of minutes, it can be quite vocally fatiguing. And so we need to learn how to do said offsets, onsets, but we also have to acknowledge that, we do them in a limited fashion. And then there are all of the other things that we learn to do habitually that hopefully empower us to do things a lot over time and, repetitively. So let's come to this question of holding a cushion or lying down when you are and learning to sing on your back. There is nothing wrong with doing that. There are certain postural positions that are going to cause you to engage the upper part of your body into your shoulders and neck in a manner that is going to cause muscular, structural engagement that is not optimal, but it may not be negative to experience that. Perhaps you've been given a role in a musical or an opera where you're going to have to be in like you're being directed into a position that causes you to have to sing in a particular way. So it may well be beneficial to practice in that position, but we certainly wouldn't want to then set that up as the all day, every day. So for example, I typically will have students standing up when they are doing their exercises here in the studio, or Linda, as you know, you're always standing up when we do our exercises for our online sessions. And that's I think that's where we get to really learn the alignment of good posture for singing. Now, I have some other students who do play their instrument, whether it be keys or guitar. They often will play those instruments sitting down. And so it is important that we then explore them actually sitting while they do play the instrument, or even at times we'll do that with some exercises. Over the years, I've taught some people with some disabilities. They can't stand up, and so we do the activities with them sitting down. And for those people, that is the necessitated norm. It all comes back to you being able to set up your body for the best optimal setting of alignment that you can, and then you moving that around. I remember when I was doing classical voice at the Queensland Conservatorium, there were moments where my teacher, and this was mostly around the exploration of breath actually, they would have me lying on the floor. There were times where they would have me on sort of like, instead of lying on your back on the floor, roll, so lying that way. Now I'm on my tummy, if you think, but now I'm up on all fours, like I'm about to piggyback a kid as a horse. Think of it like that. And that was again around the release and the sag of the abdominal wall. But it's important to note that wasn't every lesson, and they were things to explore, to give perhaps access to new experiences, but not the persistent. On this subject, it's going to be interesting, isn't it, next week to have Naomi come onto the show and talk about her novel approaches to certain things. And some of these might well be, the tools that she used might well be around what she does with alignment. So that will be interesting. We've got a note here from Jesus is the Way. How long should I rest my voice if I have vocal fatigue? I should have signed the last question off. Linda, I hope that's helpful. On to our next question. How long should I rest my voice, if I have vocal fatigue? There is actually a scientific rule of thumb. Not an exact science, but it has been shown that for every minute of use, we want to go looking for 2 minutes of rest. And that's a pretty good little rule of thumb to look for. And particularly if you are detecting the signs of fatigue. The signs of fatigue will be there might become a slight aspiration or texture to your general speaking sound. It can be a reduction of range. You can start to have intermittent sound with pitch inaccuracies where perhaps there's not normally pitch inaccuracy. So be mindful, look for those signs of fatigue and employ the vocal rest when need be. Vocal rest comes in two forms, relative and absolute. Absolute, let's deal with that firstly, is complete silence. And there are times where you're going to benefit, particularly immediately after vocal load, from some absolute quietness. I need to qualify that. Perhaps after you've done some vocal warm down, some cool downs. Bring the voice back to, if you've done a gig, for example, don't just stop at the end of the third set and go silent for a couple of hours. No, do your third set, do a vocal cool down of about 5 to 8 minutes. Bring the voice, help the voice to move the lactic acid away, then have your absolute rest, perhaps for half an hour, just to give the voice some downtime. But then after that, introduce that relative rest idea where you are really reducing your overall vocal load. Don't go and spend 2 hours on the phone on the drive home with your partner or whatever. Have some relative, reduced, relative being in relative action to your normal loading, reduced vocal load. So that's what I'd encourage you to do with that. For how long should I rest my voice if I have vocal fatigue? And judge it according to what the voice is telling you. This is the value in developing technique. To develop good technique, you have to spend a lot of time with your voice. You get to know your voice intimately, and so you're aware. You've got a fine-tuned awareness of just what your voice should or shouldn't be doing and what it should or shouldn't sound like. That's always a helpful thing. We have had 17 votes on the poll. You can already see it. You can already see the results. It did occur to me today, you know, we've been having a bit of a fun time around the fact that I had not realised that you could all see the results, and I'd been saying, we're going to reveal all to... Well, it occurred to me just the other day, sorry, not today, today, just immediately before we came on, that you all in the live show can see all of that, but you know who can't? The vast majority of people who watch the show as a replay. Hello to all of you. And that is, as I said, the vast majority, hundreds of you. And I see Rebecca's doing the drum roll. You're going to have to keep the drum roll going, Rebecca, because I haven't quite got to the fact that I'm going to end the poll. Everyone watching the replay doesn't know what the results are. And so there you go. So maybe we should continue to, you know, play this idea of it being an exciting, you know, reveal at the end of each show. This one, as I said, what's your biggest singing side quest? We are about to reveal all. If you haven't voted, now is your time. 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's have a look at the results. So the results are 46%. So essentially half of you are wanting to build tireless vocal stamina. 24% said overcoming stage fright forever. That would be a good thing, forever. I mean, that would be awesome, wouldn't it? Hitting that dream high note, 18%. And only 12, this was interesting, only 12% are wanting to write their first original song. Again, just a little bit of fun. Do you know, when I first looked at that, well, I've already done my first original song, so that's out of it. The dream high note, well, I've kind of already done that, tick. Overcoming stage fright forever. Here's the thing, I think for me, I'm not looking to overcome stage fright forever. I'm always looking to better manage my performance anxiety. I want to have that sense of energy, but nonetheless, I think it's still a good thing to aim for. The one I would have ticked, folks, would have been, and I think this would have got us to the 50%, building tireless vocal stamina. You know, it would be awesome if we were robots and our voices didn't fatigue and we could just keep going on, going and going. But what we can do is, as I said, develop the vocal stamina. We're going to talk about that more on the 3rd of the 11th in a couple of weeks, which will be good. I've just seen Sam's question. I'm going to answer this and then we're going to finish for the day. What are good exercises for students who sound breathy? Sam, I am going to direct you, and I hope you're not frustrated by this because we need to finish the show. I'm going to direct you to I have a whole, in fact, I might even have 2 whole videos on this very subject on the channel. And I want to encourage you to go over and check it out. Search for, if you put the word in the little search bar, if you put the word in, literally put it in as breathy, I'm almost convinced it will come up. And I think it might even, if I'm remembering correctly, it has a picture of Marilyn Monroe on the front page, on the thumbnail, I think. I hope you've enjoyed today's Hangout. Thank you for all the questions, everyone. It's always good when we get a lot of questions because it actually makes the show work, which is good. Toku Lover, we've missed out on that question. We are going to have to finish, but I do want to encourage you to join us again next week when Naomi comes on, and for the rest of the year. Make sure you don't miss the show because we've only got 5 left now that today's finished, and I very much look forward to seeing you in the next I went to say it. I went to say live hangout. I did. I have to admit it. I did. No, it is the live hangout, not the vocal analysis. I went to say the right thing. I'll see you next week when we interview Naomi. Have a great week, everyone. I'm Dr. Dan. Sing well.